Okay, you're live. It says. Looks like we're on. Okay. Oh, okay. I think that's everything. All right, all right. Good evening. Welcome into the chat room. I'm Franklin, your host. We'll have a cosmic chat this evening. I see Mayu has joined us, and good to see you again, Mayu. Good evening. We are finally rolling this evening with some wide open spaces for you. If you'd like to have a reading tonight, I'd like to hear from you, Mayu. When last we talked, you were asking about several friends of yours, and we need to look further into what's going on there. And for everyone who does join us on these live chats, it's the more the merrier. If you have friends who need advice, that's the best thing I can offer to you. Mayu says the friend just called and getting a tattoo with his girlfriend. Well, that sounds permanent, doesn't it? That's that is that's one way of saying that I'm going to be around, and that's what mates are all about, right? And also friends. It's there's a very fine line between love and friendship, and it really goes along the same lines. And Mayu says that our tattooed friend is hers now, E- e- except that tattoos can be changed, right? The very same as the written word. When people started writing things down and things could be changed later on, that people really stopped listening to each other. The oral tradition meant that you had to listen to everybody and remember what they were saying. Julie is joining us in the chat room this night. Hello and good evening, Julie. Good to have you along with us. We're looking this evening at the summer solstice, which is upon us, and that means everything really comes to a screeching halt. We're not only about to come to the stop here in another week, but the week after that, it's like our wheels will just be spinning as the Earth tries to tilt back in the other direction, and we're going to have a total repeat of what's going on this week in the week after it. And this is because the Earth has reached its tilting point where it has to go back the other way, and this is very akin to the motion of the moon. Have you ever wondered why the moon comes up in different places every night? The moon is constantly moving back and forth because it has such an erratic pattern, and it can't stay in the same place. So as we trace the moon back across, as the oceans follow the moon back across from side to side, it also takes us along with it. What are we? 90% water, so it figures that the is definitely here for us, for humans to use this earth and take part in it. How did all this start? Well, God's mind moved from the dream state to the awakened state, and God put in motion everything that God had dreamed. That's why everything is preordained. It's all what God dreamed was going to take place. Julie says, what changes can Aquarius expect with the summer solstice? The 11th house. Oh man, the Aquarians are the most inventive souls, and it's time for a new path. Right, time to walk a new path for the Aquarius people as the summer solstice slows us down enough to be able to make changes. The world happens so fast that we find it hard to make the changes that we need to make because something else is always coming up. Something else is always making us think of two things at once. And multitasking is what causes most of the problems on earth today. How do you meditate? You meditate by concentrating on a single thought. So, thinking a single thought is heaven. And multitasking, you're getting closer and closer to hell the more things you try to do at one time. And this goes along with relationships. The only way to have a perfect three-person relationship is if each of those people can give each other their full attention. Is that possible? It's hard enough to give your full attention to one person at one time. And this is so if you're having sex with any other thought in mind other than making your partner blissful, you're creating bad karma. And if you are thinking of your partner, you're creating good karma. It's really just as simple as that. So the Aquarians can expect a whole new path to open up for them in within the next couple of weeks. Because I mean, we're right on top of the solstice now, and you can expect that this is like your cosmic vacation. These couple of weeks here, when things are going to be quietened down as compared to what it's going to be in just a couple of weeks when we gain traction and things really get moving again. And between now and Christmas, of course, it's the uh, the busiest time of the year and the time when our guides are busiest. And I had a very interesting call with a client this week, and we got into a discussion of who their spirit guides were, why those souls would attach themselves to a particular person, and why no one ever seems to recognize those people. Your spirit guides very seldom identify themselves. And the reason is that the reason they're with you is to experience your emotions. They are living inside of you, inside your mind, so they can experience the emotions that you feel. This is why they push you towards other people. This is why they want you to feel anger, hate, love. All of those are the strongest things in the universe. Those emotions that can be felt by not only people here in the material world who are actually living these stories out, but all of the guides who are within you, those who travel around with you. It seems to me that there are three basic groups in the spirit world. We have those who want to be reincarnated and are trying to find the proper situation to come back into the world and be reincarnated. And we have those who are wanting more experience and are willing to do that through other people. And these are spirit guides. These are the ones who attach themselves to certain people. And the more emotional those people are, the more guides they're going to have with them. The more their guides are going to push them into situations where they can feel. And then there's the third category, and these seem to be spirits who are hung up on and don't seem to be able to leave a certain plot of ground, a certain building, and they are a part of where they are. You pass through their life when you happen to pass through, and these, if you've ever been out in your yard and there's no one in the house, and yet you see shadows in the windows, almost heads in the windows watching you. If you're alone in the house and you feel those those eyes that are on you, that are watching you, that are anticipating your next move, these are the spirits who go with the place, and you are the disruption. You pass through, and they can relive their lives by living through you. This is why you have your spirit guides, those who are so attached to you that they speak to you through, of course, your voice. What voice are you going to trust more than that inner voice of your own? When you're talking to yourself, listen between the lines. I know what happens to me when I give advice to other people. My guides are talking to me too. Very often, they're slipping something in there that's meant for me. And this is the way your guides communicate with you. Your spirit guides are your conscience, of course they are. Because they're going to make you relive good, bad, and indifferent experiences. This is this. The guides are here to teach you lessons, right? The the whole point of free will is that for evolution to work, you have to try every different way. You have to take every different road. You have to experience those things sooner or later in multiple lifetimes. And this is the learning process where we are all trying to become enlightened. Because what my guides have shown me is that we all have to be enlightened together. Nobody goes to heaven until we all go together. Julie says, I have a friend who's asking about compatibility between Cancers and Capricorn. Oh, man. Uh, an earth sign and a water sign. It's a beautiful pairing. You're talking about people who can nurture each other, right? Do they make a good couple? Well, yes, they do. They make a very good couple. Is it possible for us to predict if a relationship will work based on the zodiac signs only? You can certainly get compatibility, and you can predict where the problems are going to be. If you have Cancer is the fourth house, and Capricorn is the 10th house. So you're talking about two even numbers. And in the overall universal numbering system, even numbers mean yes, odd numbers mean no. To put together a Cancer of the fourth house and a Capricorn house. This adds up to a 5. The relationship is a 5, and that means ups and downs, a roller coaster ride, but a happy conclusion. These are two people, your Capricorn and your Cancer, who are going to learn from each other. They're going to grow as a team, as a pair, as both being the teacher of the other, both being the student of the other. So it truly is a very workable relationship. The for for Cancer, it's always a matter of, can you accept criticism, and even if it's constructive criticism. Cancers are overly sensitive about them. Capricorns expect you to be the best in the world because they expect themselves to be the best in the world. So that could be the fly in the ointment between those two, is if they get into competition with each other. But it's so easy for a water sign and an earth sign to be together, because water flows naturally down to the lowest point to nurture the neediest first. And for for a water sign to get together with an earth signs can accept that flow of water into their lives, and they can um, they can put it to use. Where if you have, say, two water signs together and you have an overage, you have an overflow, you have too many emotions sometimes, where those people just have to get away from each other and take a break because it's too intense. So the water sign and the earth sign, that's a beautiful relationship. It's a real give and take sort of a relationship. If you care to join us tonight, we have our people who are with us for all of these broadcasts, and who we do these readings for, and we we really try to show you how how to read yourself. The hardest thing in the world is for a psychic to be able to read themselves, because we all have our wants, our desires. We're all prejudiced. We all want a certain outcome, and it's very hard for anyone to that they're going in the wrong direction. That they need to change, because this is why most of the people in the world try to change other people, because they feel like it's so much easier to change others than it is to be able to change themselves. When change is really the inevitable, change is what we all need, change is what we're all looking for. And when we change the world, can you change the universe? You can, changing how you look at it, changing your point of view, changing how you react to bad traffic, people getting in your way, people vexing your plans. We all, if we're human, we all have anger, right? Anger always comes first. Anger jumps up in front of us, and then we have denial. It wasn't my fault. I didn't do that. And then there's bargaining. God, if you'll get me out of this tight spot, I'll be good for the rest of my life. And then there's depression, when God does not answer those sort of prayers. When God has not only a better idea, but the idea, and you're not going to suddenly change things. So what you always come down to is acceptance. This is the five stages of everything that comes into your life. And if you can ever skip that first step, if you can ever make anger the last thing that enters, you've changed your world. You've changed how you're going to react to every sort of situation that comes up. Paul, good evening, joining us this evening. Paul says, hope that you're well and happy. I am. I am. It's been a, a big week. Things have really been happening. My wife is in for major surgery, so I've been having to spend my days in a huge hospital around sick people, and I am a sponge. I pick up the emotions, the feelings of everyone. And when I'm in a place where there are hundreds, thousands of tense, sick people who are on edge, I get an overload and just have to get away from it. And this is a part of what I was talking about. Psychics have a hard time saving themselves, right? Paul says, oh, wow, mind boggling. Your mind. Everything is in your mind. Paul, you have the combined knowledge of every soul who has ever been on this planet. It's all accessible to your spirit guides. So what I get is what my guides want me to know. In my world, I see everything. I've been told these stories, but I know they're meant for me, right? They're meant for my mind. Julie says, of course, we're affected by everything around us. Do you believe in manifesting? Do you believe in being able to leave your body and be in other places? This is a possibility. Transcendental meditation has been practiced for thousands of years. It there are souls on this planet that can disconnect themselves from their bodies. There are souls who can manifest their thoughts into reality. And it becomes much easier when you realize that everything's just an illusion. There's not a straight line in the universe. Everything is circular, everything's curved. Paul says, I've heard this is true. Myself, I can't. Okay. Why are there so many unbelievers in the world? Why? 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 Hmm, why are there people who don't believe at all? It's because they have not had their epiphany. They have not had their experience. Houdini, remember the escape artist Houdini, condemned all psychics, all table tappers and seance people because he himself could not do it. That doesn't mean it's wrong. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It's just exactly, Paul, the closed mind. When when a person doesn't get instant results from asking their guides, do they get mad at their guides? Have you ever been mad at God? Do you know people who are mad at God and will not accept good things into their life? Do you know people who cannot even accept a compliment? You look nice today. Well, I don't ever really look good. It's a hard thing to do. It is to be able to accept that Paul says, try again. And isn't that the Isn't that truly the best advice that anyone has ever given any other human on earth? Is don't quit. When you look at people like Thomas Edison, who had 1,000 failures that led to a success, that's the human way of doing it. We learn from our mistakes. We're here. There's 7 billion of us on this crowded planet to make it easier for us to learn from other people's mistakes, to make it the each of us sets an example for other human beings on this planet, whether we want to or not, whether we care to or not. And it can be either a good example or a bad example. But whatever you are is being used because it's being seen by other people. So try again. Well, never say never. That's the best advice that I could ever give anyone. Don't ever close your mind. Don't ever, don't ever, don't ever let revenge get the best of you. Think about what revenge has done to this world. So true, says Paul. It and revenge is something we try to lay on God, our vengeful God. Well, that's the biggest lie that's ever been told. God takes no vengeance. You know how God punished Cain? He let him live on earth for 600 years so he could see the results of what he had done. That's how God deals with humans who get out of line. Revenge is a human invention, and revenge only leads to more revenge. And eat you alive is so true, Paul. Eat you alive from the inside out. You are condemning yourself when you say, I'm never going to forgive that person. I can never get over that. And this is what Jesus was talking about in the Sermon on the Mount when he said, "The you love your enemies," right? The Good Samaritan. The Samaritan was the enemy, and yet this one good Samaritan was going to come over and help the guy. And being able to accept help from those that you consider your enemies, that's how you would enlighten yourself. That's how you would that's how you would endear yourself to God. That's how you would make them, Paul says, smother them with kindness. That really is what the Sermon on the Mount was all about. Jesus said, if somebody steals your hat, offer them your coat because they must need it. Don't chase them down and shoot them in the back because they took your hat. The the old saying, the adage, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, means don't take an eye's worth of revenge on somebody who only chipped your tooth, right? It Revenge is what makes Hollywood go round. In Hollywood, in the movie world and television, anything is permissible. Anything is permissible if it's in revenge for what the writer of that piece thought was unforgivable. And it perpetuates itself. That what would the movies be without revenge? I don't think we would have movies without revenge. So forgiveness is the greatest thing you can do. Forgiveness is the greatest lesson you can learn. People ask me all the time, how do I know if I'm supposed to be with this certain person? I've been back and forth with this person. I can't decide if I want to be or not. And it's very simple. Can you forgive them? If you can forgive what that person has done to you, through ignorance or meanness or whatever, if you can forgive that in the same way that you can forgive, say, your own children of anything, if you have unconditional love for that person and you can forgive them, that is your guide's way of telling you that you're meant to be with them. And if you cannot forgive someone, if you're going to give them hell for the rest of the relationship, you're not supposed to be there. If they're going to give you a hard time, you're not supposed to be with them. It's it's a very easy way to know, because each one of us has our own line, has our own limits. I can forgive this, I cannot forgive that. And it almost always comes from your parents. Whatever you learned from the relationship that you had, that your parents had, is always going to be a huge part of what you want. And Paul says life is a very interesting ride. And you have to wonder where it's going, where all of this bad weather, what's it trying to tell us? What, is is it really all the lies that are being told? I mean, life imitates art up to a point, and then art imitates life, right? And politics are somewhere in between. And politics have turned into liar's poker. It's instead of answering questions, they all seem to rather, what they would rather accuse the person that's asking the question of some larger, bigger crime. And there's just no end to it. I mean, until they actually work together, they're not really doing their job. So I think things are going to change, and it really is being forced upon us by the weather. If there's one thing in this world that no human can stand up to, it's Mother Nature. The reason that we have these weather phenomena, tsunamis, things that are just too big for any human to be able to deal with, is to show countries they can't live alone. They can't be an island. You can't. It really is one world. And that truly is the problem, right? The old Chinaman who wrote the Tao Te Ching considered roads and bridges to be the creators of all the problems. If everybody would just stay home in their own village and mind their own business, there wouldn't be any problems. And he was right. You know, the religions all have the right idea, but none of them have the whole idea, and they don't seem to understand that they have to work together. They're all circling the bottom of the mountain when God's on top of the mountain. And if all the religions would look upward and come together, they would all come to God, and they would find that none of them had the entire story. They were only told by their gods, by their angels, what they were supposed to hear. And of course, we all believe that. You know, something else we believe is that angels and all those in the spirit world look like us. Oh, Santa Claus is my color then, right? Right? This this is the cause of entire religions, entire countries saying we don't like those people. We're going to hate them for the rest of our time. It's because they think God has told them this. Because when an angel comes to anyone, they come looking very much like that soul, so they'll be trusted. And when when you meet your angels, when you die and your life is being reviewed, that angel speaks your language, no matter what your language is, sign language. That angel will speak to you in your language, which means he's going, he, it means the angel is going to speak to a human in the voice they will trust most, their own voice, and come to them in the vision that they will trust most. And that's like their own grandfather, right? And that's how we see angels. So every time an angel has ever come to someone, they came looking like that particular person. So that particular person has his epiphany with his angel, and he knows for a fact now that all angels are rainbow colored or whatever he is, whatever she is, whatever that soul is, whatever that soul's spirit guides want to show them. And the most obvious of this is love interest, what you are shown in the eyes of other human beings. There are people on this planet who believe to their soul that there are reptile people, that you look in their eyes and you can see snake eyes. It's in the eye of the beholder, not the person. Your guides are showing you that that's a dangerous person. What you think is dangerous, reptile, you're going to be shown in the eyes of another human being who has bad intentions for you. And Lord knows there's plenty of that going around. So when it's really something bad, you're going to be shown that they're an alien, that they're some kind of animal type person to scare you, to run you away from them, to take you out of danger. This is the way that your guides work. So everything that you see is an illusion. Everything you don't see, think about how things are hidden from you. You're driving down a busy street thinking about something else. Your guides put something else in your mind, and you drive right past that building with the huge sign on it that you were going to the whole time. And you get a block down further, and you say, well, where was it? I was blinded to it. This is the ability that your guides have. So, what you have to do is be able to interpret that. Then this is the human job, is trying to understand what angels, who are the action right hand of God, are trying to tell us. Where the angels come, God God begins everything. Everything in this universe begins as a thought of God. The first thought was of others, and that created angels. Angels have free will. Angels came first. There's fallen angels because angels wanted to be closer to God than the other angels. They have free will. They act very much like humans, right? Only they know better. And they the the fallen angels have been on this earth longer than humans have. And in the book of Enoch, we find that the fallen angels have mated with human women. Then, and now it's thousands of years later, and we have a lot of humans on this earth that have some angel in them, that very special human beings who actually have a part of their self are descendants of angels. You get to be a 32nd and a 64th, and but that's all it takes, is to have any touch of the angel. The book of Enoch. There were three books of Enoch that were removed from the Bible by the Roman emperors when Rome took over Christianity as their religion, because the original Christianity says no alcohol, nobody can drink, and the Roman emperor was a drinker, right? And he considered himself to be a living god. So when they took over Christianity, because it was so easy to tax the people, they had to make changes. There was a huge council called, and all the religious people decided what would please the emperor and what wouldn't, because emperor of Rome in those days was life and death. I mean, could end it all. So everyone was trying to appease the emperor, and the books of Enoch had to be removed. The books of Enoch are where the wise men read about the coming of Jesus. One of the books of Enoch is called Astrology, astronomy, and it contains star maps, and it is what the wise men followed to come into Jerusalem and find the baby. And they made the mistake of going first to the king and saying, "Good news, Herod, the Savior is finally here." And of course, Herod thought he was the Savior, and this is why Jesus ends up in Egypt and has to come back through, and why his cousin John the Baptist is hidden in a cave up by the Jordan River. 30 years later, he's going to come out and be preaching. Right? These the changes that have come to the Holy Scriptures are mind numbing. They really are, and it's there is truth in each and every one of the different religions, and if they can ever see that they are all different parts of the same thing, and maybe they can make it work. I don't know. I don't know. Life life is what you make it. It truly is. The Buddha could recall over 300 different lives that he had experienced, and he had the wisdom to tell his followers that don't make it a religion. It's not. All the Buddha was trying to do was reform Hinduism, take it back to its roots. And it's it's always been very important as to our motives. What is it we're trying to do? What are they trying to do with religion, other than control people? Uh, any authoritarianism is the problem. Trying to control other people. When any group that has a president, vice president, and a sergeant at arms, they're making a mistake. The, the all of the major religions um, had a leader, had a great leader, and that leader, Jesus, Muhammad, did not leave a predecessor. Never named the next person who was supposed to take over, because they never meant for their lives to be anything other than their teaching. How they lived their lives was their great contribution to the world, trying to show other people how it was possible to live a good life, and to be a very good person while still living in the world. And that's a lesson for each of us, is that we create our own world, and we can make it anything that we care to make it, because God created this world for us, and we are to use this to help each other, to try and be able to believe in something. The whole world that we see is an illusion, and it's what we make it. If if the entire world is a hologram, it's that would be very easy to believe. To get the holographic image, you split a light beam and then you bring it back together by using mirrors, smoke and mirrors, right? And you look at it from a different point of view. That's why it looks three-dimensional, and that's how you change your world, is by changing how you look at it, changing how you react to other people, because so much of that is learned behavior. So much of what we say to other people is what we know is they want to hear. What we say, we tell you that we told you that lie to make you feel better, right? It we did it for your own good, and and that's a real problem with human beings, is trying to force what they hear from their angels onto other people. What you hear is only for you. I know what I hear is only for me. The reason I can give advice to other people is because I'm hearing their spirit guides talking to my spirit guides, and the way my guides have chosen to speak to me is through the tarot cards. Unbelievable. It's like a shorthand for real messages. When I see a picture on that tarot card, I don't just see that picture. I see a cartoon movement. Uh, I see what happens next in that. And it's just an amazing thing. I began with American Indian medicine cards with all the different animals and the different spirits within the animals, and found a real relationship with that. And then a friend, a guide, put a deck of angel cards in my hand, and it was like the water diviner, and you take the stick, and that stick comes to life, right? And helps you find the water. That's how I've always felt about the different card systems. I went through angel cards and archangel cards, and then discovered the tarot. The tarot seems to be the basis of all of the different systems, and everything is based upon numerology. And this is the original astrology, named the 12 houses 1 through 12, not Aries through Pisces. Numbers have always meant more than names. Numbers tell the truth. Numbers are the only facts on earth that cannot be changed by angry gods or miracles. Pythagoras said that about 2,600 years ago. and, and he was completely right. Pythagoras was the first to teach the importance of zero, and the fact that there were negative numbers below zero. There was -1, -2, and that he taught that the spirit world was the very same way, in reality, but out of sight, below zero, out of sight. but every bit as real as anything else. And Pythagoras was taking the old um, the Viking book of Thuth, right? And this is where the original numbers come from, the runes of the Vikings, and that's pre cards. The runes are an amazing piece of work, and they speak to a certain group of people at a certain time. And that's the amazing part about tarot cards is they speak to people today just as effectively as they did thousands of years ago. The 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 first use of tarot cards must have been among people who traveled and did not speak the language of people they traveled into their country. So they would show them colored pictures, or who knows what it was, but stick pictures of cave drawings, right? They would have had cards to introduce themselves. I the tarot card system is a way of explaining from one people to another that they have common threads, that everything is built upon the same images all around the world. And we all get the same results by being there. So we're just about to finish up tonight, and it's been nice to have you with us, Paul, Julie, all of our usual crowd making the run tonight. And good to see you again, Mayu. And this is every Friday night, same time, same channel. I'm Franklin, and the cosmic uh, chat room. We are going to close down for another night. Great to have you here. I love you, and I'll see you again next week. Paul says thank you, and I thank each and every one of you for being here.